September 15th, Penn State is planning on celebrating the late football coach Joe Paterno with a Joe Paterno Day to commemorate the first game that Joe Paterno coached. And there's all sorts of rumors that they're going to bring back the Joe Paterno statue, the statue that they took down after everything happened with the terrible, terrible Sandusky situation. And this is just the thing I'm thinking of, that maybe Wells Fargo is going to finance that return of that statue. Yeah, Wells Fargo, they're in more crap. I don't know if you heard about that, but they have been fined $185 million on Thursday, according to CBS, for alleging that the bank's employees illegally opened millions of unauthorized accounts for their customers in order to meet aggressive sales goals. Yeah, Wells Fargo, the beacon of honesty right there. I told you last week, Wells Fargo, first they go after the musicians, they go after the entertainers, the artists, and they're screwing their customers at the same time. I'm Brian Crawford. I am Pittsburgh's Moral Compass. I am here at the beautiful Millvale Studios. Great place, surrounded by beautiful art. I could not be happier anywhere else. I want to know what your thoughts are on Joe Paterno Day. And it's interesting, it's coming up very quickly, the 15th, right around the corner. And obviously Penn State is in the limelight right now with the game coming up against the University of Pittsburgh. Who do you think is going to win that game? I want to know your thoughts there too. 412-407-2PGH. That's 412-407-2744. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at RiverTalkPGH. 45 counts of sexual abuse. That's what Jerry Sandusky was charged with. Who knows how many victims there actually were. In this man, Joe Paterno, he was a great coach, but by his own admission, he says he wish he would have done more. The more and more testimony that comes out, the more is revealed that he knew more and more than we originally thought. And I feel bad for the students who go to Penn State now, who have to bear these chains of this situation. But the people who live there, the people who live in Happy Valley, the people who are the die-hard Penn State fans, not all of them, but a very vocal group, are absolutely insane. It's like a cult, and they're more worried about the football wins, they're more worried about the wins than they are the kids, and they just don't get it. This shows you, this Joe Paterno Day, this bowing down to the donors, the alumni, this shows you that the Penn State community, the radical end of the Penn State community, they just do not get it. And I'll be honest, I think there's a fraction, a segment of the Penn State community that would actually be happy to see Jerry Sandusky get off. Because if he didn't do it, Joe Pa, his record is cleared, everything's back the way it was. Football, for some reason, and it drives me nuts. And I like the game of American football. I really don't despise the game. I despise a lot of the crap that goes along with it. Crap like this cult-like mentality. We talked about this previously with Sammy Toronto. She's going to be back to talk about this Joe Paterno Day because she actually right now lives in State College. So she has a unique perspective. She gets to see what is going on firsthand. So I'm interested to hear what she has to say. But look at what goes on in the NFL. As I said a couple days ago, at the beginning of the week, there's an entire database of crimes committed in the 2000s alone in the NFL, and we do not care as a society. People like to talk about baseball and compare the NFL to baseball. Well, if you look at the baseball crimes, yeah, every group is going to have their bad seeds, but the vast majority of their crimes in Major League Baseball are performance-enhancing drug issues, which, in my opinion, isn't that big of a deal. It's a big deal for the game because it gives an unfair competitive edge, but it's not a crime that negatively affects other people. It affects you. I could affect somebody who may not be able to win a game because they were shortchanged, but generally, it just has to do with you. That's what it is. It's frustrating. The NFL crimes are just, like I said, they're overlooked. Look at Cal U. just a little bit ago. Cal U had a situation where several members of the football team curb stomped somebody into having brain damage. The guy could have went into a coma. You know what happened? They missed one game, and it was back in action. Like nothing ever happened. The hockey team at Cal U, a couple years before, had a drug issue where 2 kids out of 3 teams, 2 men, sold weed. You know what happened to the hockey team? All 3 teams were suspended for the season, and then they came back with reprimands, different criteria that they had to meet. All their players were watched. I don't have a problem with that, but why in the hell can 4 people on a football team go curb stomp somebody on the middle of a major road in a university, and the team gets 1 game suspension, a 1 game suspension, and people say, oh, well, the band, you have to think about the band, the cheerleaders are affected, all these other people are affected. Well, you know what? The women's hockey team weren't involved with selling the drugs, so they were all affected. It's just this cult-like mentality. I don't know how to get past this, and really, Penn State needed the death penalty. They needed their program canceled for at least a year. They needed to lose on that revenue. They needed to feel the pain of having just this colossal scandal. A lot of other teams have been dealt a lot greater punishments for a lot less than Penn State. And I just don't understand it. Please help me understand. 412-407-2PGH. You can hit me up on Twitter at RiverTalkPGH as well. I'll be there answering your tweets if I get them throughout the day. I'll also answer after the show, but I just am clueless. I'm interested to hear what Mike McMullen has to say about this situation. As a diehard Pitt fan, I know he's going to be excited about the upcoming game, and I know he's often been very frustrated himself with what's going on at Penn State. And here's an interesting article, and this conversation actually was prompted from another radio show I was listening to, and I heard this editorial, and it was written by students of Penn State in their newspaper, the Collegian, and it reads, Penn State announced on Thursday afternoon that the 50th anniversary of Joe Paterno's first game as Penn State's head coach will be commemorated on September 17th when Penn State plays Temple. That game is the Stripe Out and is also set to celebrate Thon and Community Heroes Day and Faculty Staff Day. Thon, by the way, is a wonderful, wonderful charity that Penn State puts together, and it raises so much money for cancer. The article continues, Paterno has not been a member of this university's staff since 2011. He is no longer a community hero. Paterno was a remarkable part of this university for numerous years, and for that we have the right to be thankful. For those who attended Penn State while he was here, he has every right to remain a legend. He was a hero, and no one wants to see their hero fall. But in light of these past years, even these past few weeks, this is in no way the right time or manner to commemorate him, if he even deserves to be so. Currently, the undergraduate students at Penn State do not know what it is like to see this legendary coach, and they have quotes, jog onto the field with our boys in blue and white. We do not have the opportunity to bump into him at the library and exchange a few kind words. Currently, the only associations these classes of students have with Paterno is reading and hearing his name tied with Jerry Sandusky's law firm and the lawsuits associated with him, or coming from the mouths of Penn State alumni who can't accept that their longtime hero is no longer. This is our Penn State. It is a Penn State without Joe Paterno. It is a Penn State that is still trying to rebuild and make amends and propel forward. Those of us here now are beyond ready to move on. And the article continues to talk about Thon and really what should be recognized at this game. I just think the editorial here really spells out what's going on this campus, and I hope that this is the attitude that the student body has. I wish, and obviously what happened at Cal U doesn't count to the same level as what went on in Penn State, but still, it is pretty serious to nearly kill someone out on a major street. And whenever I talked about the Cal U situation, and this just goes to this cult-like mentality, and maybe because it was fresh, whereas this happened with Jerry Sandusky, it happened before these students were on campus. But at Cal U, when it happened there, and I talked about it, and I questioned the president, Gerald E. Jones, who now, unfortunately, after the football scandal, after the Drapegate scandal, where she spent $30,000 on drapery for her private apartment, after all of this went on, they hired her full-time, of course, because it's the state system of education. But when I talked about that situation, the students were very quick to defend her actions, and no one seemed to give a damn about this guy who was in the hospital in intensive care for brain damage. No one gave a crap about him. All they cared about is that the football game marched on and the band got to play at the damn halftime show. And, I have a lot of friends who were in the band, and I feel bad if they would miss it, but you know what? Some things are bigger than just playing in the halftime show. Some things are bigger than playoff football. I'm interested to hear what Sammy Toronto has to say about all of this. We're going to talk to her at the end of today's program here at riversedgepgh.com, powered by NJL WebTech. Go to njlwebtech.com for all of your web servicing needs. Mike was supposed to be calling us. I told him to call us on the dot at 10:15, but he is not, so I'm going to try and give him a ring and see if we can get a hold of Mike as well. So I got the phone up to my ear, but I'm interested to hear what he has to say. He's been following this situation for quite some time. I know he is very big into Pitt, so I'm interested to hear what he has to say. But also, don't forget, we have some really great things on the show today. We have Diego. He is in studio. He's going to be talking about his upcoming show at Pittsburgh Winery. And we also have Sammy Toronto of Football in High Heels. And I'm going to give the 5 commandments of Penn State, the Paterno body, and some interesting things about Pittsburgh. We're on a new list, and it may be a list that you don't want to be on, but we're going to talk about that coming up as well. But right now we have Mike on the phone. Mike, how are you doing today?
Good, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. Before we get into politics, Mike's our political commentator. I do want to talk to you about Joe Paterno Day at Penn State.
Well, do you want an unbiased opinion or a very biased opinion? Being a God made the sky blue and gold for reasons, and they're not West Virginia colors and they're not Penn State colors. So tomorrow is a day of reckoning. And, in hindsight, it's like, look, your generation, the last time we played was 2000 actually. This generation has not seen Penn State football. I believe 2000 anyway. It's been too long. This rivalry needs to play. Pitt, West Virginia needs to play. Pitt, Penn State needs to play. Let's stop playing Villanova and Youngstown State. Put it on the schedule now till infinity. It'd be like Michigan State not playing. Ohio State, Michigan not playing. Traditional rivalries in state, in the Commonwealth. And honestly, if I were a state representative or a state senator, hint to everybody out there, I would, they pass all these bills about, street names and, this citation and so forth. How about putting a bill forward if you want to receive state funding because Pitt, Penn State, Lincoln, and Temple are private, semi-private related, and they get state funding. Here's the law, or here's the new amendment of the law. If Pitt, Penn State does not play every year, you don't get state funding. It's pretty simple. How's that?
That's getting involved for sure. I mean, they do receive the money, and they are
yes.
Both actually, Pitt is number 1, Penn State is number 2. They are the most expensive land grant schools in the country.
Yes, they are. And the thing is, I can tell you when I was at Pitt from 88 to 92, it goes up and up every year. And you want a family, middle income family, Pitt, Penn State, in-state tuition, looking, room board on campus, you're looking $30,000 a year, if not give or take. It's better to go to a state school.
Well, you know what? The state schools, Cal U, we were just talking about Cal U. It cost me, as someone trying to pay out of pocket, $1,200 for one class at the state-funded University of Cal U.
Well, Brian,
Actually,
I
to
agree.
look at the prices, if I were to qualify for a few private grants, which if you go to a private school, the private grants are they're more affluent. They're out there. I could actually go to a private school for about the same price as I do Cal U, despite already paying in taxes and everything else,
Correct.
and all the money
Well,
they receive in
I agree.
federal money.
Getting back, Brian, tomorrow, getting back to your first question, about the Penn State thing. Look, it's a good thing. The old man, if he was alive, he'd be in jail. And it's We Are Scandal U. We cover up crimes. Oh, that's right. Spainer, Curley, and the top administrator, they're still on trial. And a little sidebar, Graham Spainer, the former president who was relieved of his duties, fired, forced out, whatever, he's still getting paid by Penn State University, and he was in charge. So, look, the rivalry is back for at least next 3 years. Next 2 years, I'm sorry. Home here, then Penn State next year. And hopefully with the new Scott Barnes, the AD, and new administration at Pitt, and the new administration at Penn State, maybe we can, well, not maybe, I hope that they can get on the schedule and move forward and so forth. And my prediction, Pitt is going to beat Penn State tomorrow, so that's all that matters.
The whole thing is the place is like a cult, Penn State, and I think it's epidemic to football at large, the culture that surrounds American football. But I mean, you look at these people; they're having a Joe Paterno day. The guy stood by and did nothing when kids were raped in his building and his facilities, and he stood by and he did nothing.
Well, Brian,
and he had all the power.
Not only did he do nothing, the administrators did nothing.
They did nothing.
I mean,
and we're going to celebrate this?
Well, exactly. And you look at former Rutgers coach Greg Schiano, the former defensive coordinator Tom Bradley, who's now down at West Virginia. Well, what do you expect? West Virginia hired him. None of these guys should, they shouldn't even be employed, pushing carts, at Walmart or Shop and Save or Giant Eagle for that matter. I mean, look, what is worse, the crime itself or the cover-up of the crime? I say both.
I'll be honest, any of the Paterno bots who are out there trying to blame the victims, as they often do, or do whatever else they can to try to discredit this situation, they are in every bit as responsible as Joe Paterno himself in turning a blind eye.
Brian, I agree wholeheartedly. And, look, justice will have its day. Sandusky's going to die and rot in prison, and I hope the administrators eventually, get caught and found guilty of something. So, anyway, but like I said, it's going to be a good atmosphere tomorrow. They're saying this could be the most ever at Heinz Field, more than any Steeler game. They're expecting 70,000 or so. So it's going to be a record. It's going to be crazy tomorrow. The game's at noon on ESPN, and we'll go from there.
Let's get into politics. The reason why we have you on, now that we've gone through all of that. What's going on? I know that they just had a big event with Hillary and Trump, and they kind of spoke to them separately. And whenever they were talking about that I don't know what you call it. It's not really a debate forum, I guess. When they were talking about that forum, they said they were back to back. And honestly, in my mind, it sounds so funny. I wasn't thinking back to back segments. I was thinking like they were literally standing back to back. And I'm thinking, how stupid is that? But no, I like the idea because you got a chance to meet each person individually outside of campaign mode before you let them go at each other.
Well, the thing is, Brian, they are going at each other. Look, we're today's, September 9th. I mean, less than 2 months, 60, 61 days till, the general election. It's full, it's all out, go. Look, I mean, as I said before, these are the two candidates that the people voted for. Right or wrong, it's Trump or Hillary. Gary Johnson shot himself in the foot the other night.
I heard.
I mean, Aleppo. Well, I mean, if you don't know what Aleppo is, it's not the Aleppo Township driving north on 65 into Beaver County. It's not that Aleppo Township hot by the airport corridor. No, it's Aleppo, i.e. Syria. You got to know your facts, and Gary Johnson should know better. I mean, but then again, you have newscasters, broadcasters trying to trip people up and so forth. But look, you're running for any office, you better know you better know your facts. I mean, you better know who, what, when, where, why, and what's going on in the world. You better read the news clips if somebody throws a curveball in at you. But look, I mean, the first debate is, I believe, in Dayton, Ohio, second, third week in in September. Then they're going to Colorado and I think Virginia. Three key battleground states. But we'll see. And the argument is Gary Johnson going to be involved in the debates? I mean, he's got to reach that threshold, and depending on the polls. I don't know the formula for it, but I think he really shot himself in the foot yesterday. But look, we're moving forward. It's going to be a very fluid race. Looking at state politics, nothing's really changed. McGinty and Toomey, the polls have tightened a little bit since we spoke last week, but at the end of the day, McGinty's still up, and either Trump is going to have coattails in PA, and win PA, or Hillary's going to have coattails and carry all the down ballot races. But we'll see.
Aaron McClelland, tongue-tied. Aaron McClelland was on the Mike Sasson show this past Tuesday. She's running against Keith Rothfuss. I wonder what your thoughts are on her race. Do you think she has a chance to overtake him?
No. Look, I mean, she's about as rough as Katie McGinty. You got to understand, the new 12th congressional district after, they'll call it the reapportionment, after the census, the gerrymandering reapportionment and so forth. It is an R+6 district, give or take. That means it's a Republican leaning edge district. Look, I mean, she got her butt kicked back in 2 years ago, and she's running again. And the thing is, money is the mother's milk of all politics, and she has no money. I mean, if she was a credible candidate, she might do better because it's potentially the year of the woman, Hillary, and McGinty and McClellan. But at the end of the day, she's from the Turner Heights up in the AK Valley. I've never met her before, but I've read her bio and so forth. I think Congressman Rothfuss is going to have an easy, smooth sailing to re-election once again.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited to follow that race. Maybe we can get him in studio as well. Mike, thank you very much. I look forward to hearing you next week.
Thanks, Brian. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
You as well. That's Mike McMullen, our political commentator here at riversedgepgh.com. We have a sad story. Let's play. We have a sad story. I'll just put it that way. Pittsburgh's on another list, and it may not be a list that you would like to be on. We are coupled, we're paired with other cities here. Let's see. We've got Philadelphia, Las Vegas, Buffalo, Detroit, New York, and it doesn't sound like a terrible list with the exception of Philadelphia. As you know, I'm a big Penguins fan. I hate the Flyers, so kind of have a rough spot for Philadelphia. But this list is the 10 unhappiest cities, 10 unhappiest metropolitan areas in the United States of America. Number 10 is Philadelphia. Number 9 is Buffalo, New York. 8 is Las Vegas. St. Louis, Missouri at number 7. Indianapolis at number 6. Detroit at 5. Milwaukee at 4. Louisville at 3, New York City at number 1, and coming in number 2, it is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Why are you all so sad? Things are changing here in the city, right? I know the Liberty Bridge is gone, but it'll be back. The jobs are coming back, new jobs. We've got new jobs, new industries. It's a happy time to be in Pittsburgh. We've got all sorts of crazy music festivals all over the place. Why are you so sad? Cheer up. Cheer up, Pittsburgh. It's okay. How in the hell? How is Philadelphia? How are they higher than us? How are they happier than us in Philadelphia? The Flyers haven't won a cup since 1975. We just won one last year. We should be on the up and up. We should be cheerful. We should be gleeful. We should be dancing around the fire on the Liberty Bridge. Not sad because of it. We'll have a better bridge. Maybe they'll rebuild it, put in an extra lane, take out those damn traffic lights before and after the tunnel. Just think of the possibilities. Think on the bright side, Pittsburgh. We gotta get this list. We gotta change this list. This is not a happy list. Let's see, the happiest metropolitan area is Richmond, Petersburg. This is according to Time magazine, by the way, so it's not like it's some sort of blog. Washington, D.C. is happier than us. They're coming in at number 3. You know what kind of drug problems they have in Washington, D.C.? This list is kind of bizarre because Florida is like 8 and 9. There's 2 places in Florida at 8 and 9. And there's even a place in New Jersey. But then again, the place in New Jersey is called Middlesex, so it could be an interesting town. But Pittsburgh, very, very unhappy. Cheer up, that's all I'm saying. Up next, we have the 5 Commandments of Penn State. That's up next here on the River's Edge.
Hi, I'm Mike Storer, host of the awesome... Hi, I'm Mike Storer, host of the Awesome Cast, which you can hear right here on River's Edge Radio. We're talking tech, getting geeky every week with people from Pittsburgh in the industry. Go check us out, awesomecast.net, or listen to us right here on River's Edge Radio, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money.
The almighty alumni of Penn State came down after their Messiah's passing with a list of 5 commandments to follow. 5 holy commandments to the Paterno masses. Number 1, we are Scandal U. I mean, Penn State. We are Penn State. Number 2, never let a good scandal get you down. Number 3, when in doubt, ignore the facts. It's better to just make up your own. Question reports, blame the... that's number 3, actually. When facing adversity, blame the victim, no matter how heinous the crime. Number 5, football is life. Don't let trivial things like child rape ever cloud you from the truth. Those are the 5 new commandments passed down from the wise alumni of Penn State University. Do you ever have an experience where you're exhausted, but you're super tired, but you can't go to sleep? That was me last night. I ended up going to the to Club Cafe for an open mic. It was a lot of fun, good times. Jeremy Kaywood was hosting. Ran into some good friends, some really great music. Met some new artists, which is always cool. It's always nice to go out and meet new people. And Club Cafe, it used to be the home of the Acoustic Cafe, so there were a lot of people there who had some good memories of the place. And but I was so tired. I all day. It was like I had the weirdest day. I come in to studio. This is no joke. I didn't get any sleep. I planned. Oh, I got some sleep. I got like 8 hours of sleep. But the days before, I was up for like 24 hours 4 times in 7 days. So I was really tired, and I just hoped all day to sleep all Thursday because I didn't have a show. I didn't have any obligations. The editing was mostly done here at the studio, and they were bombing the studio for something anyways, just maintenance issues with, you know, like they like to do maintenance on buildings to make sure there's no bugs and things like that. So I couldn't be in the studio. So I decided to sleep all day. Well, I woke up at 3:30 and I was so tired, but I just couldn't go to bed. So I go to Club Cafe, I had a good time, I go to work, and then I get to work and I go to leave. They have us work overtime, which was great, but I had to be here for Matt Geico's show at 8 a.m., which was great. Listen to that on demand later today. But I'm there, and I go to leave. I get down to my car, and I don't have my keys. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I don't have my keys. So I run up. I'm running all through the building. The place I work is the size of a couple football fields, so it's a huge building. I go upstairs. I'm going everywhere. Here's somebody actually turned my keys into Lost and Found, and I found them. I'm like, thank goodness, because I didn't know what I was going to do. So I go to get my morning coffee because I've been up since, like 3 p.m. yesterday, so I needed some coffee. I go to get my morning coffee. It's 10:45. I'm on the north side. I need to get to Millville. Somehow I managed to get every single light, the green light. It was the opposite of my normal luck. I made it here in 5 minutes, and I wasn't even speeding. It was great. I come in, the computer's working, the technology's working, everything's wonderful, and it was really a weird day. Bizarre day. But it was good. What do you do? What do you do if you ever can't go back to bed? You work overnight, or even if you're just really, really tired, you need some sleep. How do you manage? What do you do? What's your trick? I need your help. 412-407-2PGH. You can text us on that number as well, or you could tweet me at RiverTalkPGH, because I'm not going to be able to take your calls over the next few minutes. So we have Diego, who has a new show, or a show coming up at the Pittsburgh Winery, and that's going to be a good time. It is going to be at 8 p.m. at Pittsburgh Winery on the 23rd of September, just before, I guess I'll announce it now. The official announcement will come out, but we're having an event here in Millvale, Pod Crawl, September 30th, and you can experience a lot of great podcasts in the area from our network here at the River's Edge, from Sorgatron Media, from the Pittsburgh Podcast Network, and from the Epicast Network. We'll be going to Cousins here in Millvale, Grist House, Double L Grill, or Double L Bar, Smokey's Tavern, and we'll wrap up at Sidelines just up the street a little, all here in Millvale. Lots of great bars, really fantastic service, and lots of good shows, lots of good entertainment coming your way with that. So stay tuned for updates on that on the Facebook page, the Twitter page, and of course at riversedgepgh.com. Just around the corner, we have Mr. Diego talking about his show coming up at the Pittsburgh Winery here on the River's Edge Radio Network. I am back. Welcome back to the Rivers Edge Radio Network. Don't forget, we're going to stay on a little bit later today so we can talk to Sammy Toronto of Football in High Heels. She lives in the State College area, so I'm interested to hear her perspective on this Joe Paterno Day, which is just a disaster. What a stupid, stupid idea. And shame on them in the administration for allowing something like this to go on. It's despicable. They have no concept of reality. But we're going to bring on a nicer topic. We're not going to talk about Pittsburgh being unhappy. We're not going to talk about Penn State. We're going to talk about a party. And we got Diego. He is right. Oh, there he is. Hello. How are you?
How's it going?
It's going well. So tell me about this party at the Pittsburgh Winery.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to come on air and lighten up the mood a little bit. We've definitely been talking about some serious things that are worth talking about for sure. A little more clarity in the community always works out best for everybody. But I do have a party coming up, Pittsburgh Winery on the 23rd. Put a showcase together with my group, which will be Chris Kelly on bass from Soccer Funk, and also Abby Gross from Soccer Funk. I think Colin Phillip from that group might be joining us as well on the baritone sax. We'll have Rich Kaywood on the drums, and Bronwyn Wyatt Higgins will be joining me for backup vocals, and I'll be playing guitar and singing, so that'll be my group. But we also have the incredibly talented and rising stars in the telephone line, which are an awesome, they're just a great group. They got a lot of mojo, a little soul, a little groove. Addie Twigg is the lead singer, and she can sing. And they just have such a nice, welcoming and pleasing sound. And I've shared a couple bills with them last month, and they've just been killing every show they play. So I know they're going to bring it to the winery. And also met a group a little bit ago and asked them to jump on the bill as well. They're called the Blyle Brothers. And very much a jazz group, but they have a nice energy about it. Kind of reminds me of Snarky Puppy and Theo Croker. And it's just a nice, energetic, kind of enthusiastic jazz sound. A little bit on the progressive side, but a little bit of the funk chops, but it's still pretty accessible. And I think they're going to bring a nice energy to the show to open it up. And the winery is a great spot, as I hope everyone in the city knows. Tim Gaber does a great job with that place. And the wine's good. The atmosphere is perfect. It's a real cozy spot. Really intimate setting. And I think we're going to try to film the show.
Nice.
And get a recording from the board, so we'll probably put like a little video series about that afterwards. So we're hoping to catch some people who are down to party a little bit on camera. But yeah, so it's going to be a great show. It's September 23rd. It's a Friday. And the doors open at 8. And the show's going to get started around 9. Like I said, there's 3 bands, the Blyle Brothers, the Telephone Line, and my group. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. I hope a lot of people come out for it.
You do a lot of solo stuff as well, correct?
Yeah. This is my. I play guitar at open mic nights a lot. I think that might be what you're referring to, more the acoustic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually try to play these songs in those settings as well. Some of them translate. Some of them translate well on acoustic, and some of these songs that were just on the record that I put out last June that tied a top 20 for the CMJ college radio charts.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. That was
How do you get your name out there to get in so many different stations, especially with CMJ?
I did some work with this great group from California. They're a PR company called the Planetary Group, and together we sent that album out to over 300 radio stations, and a lot of them were happy to hear it, which is great. But
so I feel like with college, it depends on the school. Sometimes I feel like it would be very difficult to get them to play it.
Sure.
Other ones not so much. Like WPTS, for example, they the stuff comes in and they kind of have a top-down style of management.
Yeah.
Whereas something like somewhere like WCAL, for example, it's pretty much anything goes. They can suggest that you play certain things, but it's completely up to the DJ's discretion as to what they're going to play. So I imagine it's kind of hard due to the lack of consistency that is in these college stations.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm flattering myself, but I like to think that if the songs are good, it'll get played. But
oh yeah, for sure. But I think that lends itself to succeeding in that market. Because you don't have like if you're going to like a traditional radio market, you've got executives telling people what to play, what needs to be played, throw this in. Whereas college, it's such a mix that if you're not good, it's not going to get played at a lot of these schools like WCAL because, like I said, the DJs have complete discretion as to what they're going to play.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think I was just really happy that the albums in the mail that I sent and that the PR company that I sent got opened. I think that's one of the hardest parts. I think, really more often than not, things just don't make it to the CD player. And I think that's kind of the hardest part. But we worked hard on some creative packaging, and I think that helped a little bit. But I've had a lot of luck getting it out to the college radio stations, probably more than on some of the local stuff. Just Carnegie Mellon and Pitt were big parts, their core stations. So that was a big part of getting onto the CMJ college radio charts. It was for a cool week in July. Bjork, one of my favorite artists, was on the list as well, and so was Dinosaur Jr. So that was pretty big for me. But
yeah, that's exciting.
To go back to your original question, I think you said that you mentioned that I play some acoustic stuff, and like I said, some of these songs translate really well to the acoustic, mostly because I wrote them on that instrument. But there's a couple songs in this record that we put out that we were just talking about that really need the big band.
Sure.
And that's mostly due to the contributions from people like Max Somerville from Recluse, who will be playing keys on the gig because he tracked on that record. And Abby Gross, who actually multi-tracked all the horns on the album herself with just the alto sax. And, having a big band, you can afford a certain sound. And I think that it's just a little different from the acoustic set. And it lends itself to more of a dance hall kind of party vibe, especially with those tunes that I was writing. So I think you're going to see that at the Pittsburgh Winery.
That venue's beautiful, too. It really is.
Yeah, it's an amazing spot. Like I said, I love what Tim Gaber does with that place. He really curates a great list of incoming groups from month to month. And the wine's great, too. So everybody likes a little wine.
Oh, the wine's delicious.
Yes. So, it's going to be a great time. September 3rd, Friday. The doors open at 8. There's some pre-sale ticket prices for $10 you can get at pghwinery.com. But it'll be $12 at the door. I'm just about to start hanging flyers up all around the city. So keep an eye out for that.
How lucky are we in this city to have a winery? We've got all these brew pubs everywhere. We've got the meaderies. We've got
a long way to go.
places.
I was just in Denver. I'd hate to compare Pittsburgh to any other city. It's very unique, and it is a small city, but I think that's nice. I actually enjoy it. But I was just in Denver, and they got a brewery on every block. So we need more breweries. There's
never have too many breweries.
No. I think that's something I kind of saw out there. Instead of dives, they kind of have breweries. Like on every block. And I think breweries are really cool. I've heard lots of cool stories about people moving to the city from out of town because and like quitting their law job or something or medicine just because they wanted to brew beer. I think those are cool stories. I mean,
those are cool. Yeah,
it doesn't say anything bad about the profession they were getting into before. I think it just says that it's just. I like those stories of people empowering, feeling empowered by their dreams and their visions. But yeah, I think it's a cool little job market. I think it's more entrepreneurial and people who, take care of their craft. And I think there can be always more of those.
Maybe that's why Denver's happier than Pittsburgh, because we don't have enough breweries.
Well, they also get a lot of sunshine out there. That's for sure. But something to be said about the Rocky Mountain High. But no, Pittsburgh's a great city, and I have only been living here for about 6 years. I didn't grow up too far, but it sounds like the steel industry was the big, and those are big corporations, and but now it seems like a lot of the business is coming from, still UPMC and things like that, but I think there's also a lot of pop-ups. I think startups. I think this is a big startup city, and I'd like to see more things like breweries and more restaurants and more art galleries and cool venues and things like that.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're actually hopefully going to turn this space into somewhat of a music venue as well as an art space.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of great things going on here in Millville. We've got a coffee shop opening up next door. So definitely I agree. And I'm spoiled living here. I've got the 2 breweries that are in my town, and then I just have to cross the bridge, and I've got the cider house there, a couple breweries in Lawrenceville, down in the Strip District with the winery, all within walking distance. So
yeah. The ones here are really good.
It makes it very easy to become a drunk living where I live.
Sure.
It's all good.
There's something to be said about moderation.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good show. Great cast, and
yes.
again, a beautiful venue. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the band's story? How did you guys come to form, and is that what brought you to Pittsburgh originally?
Yeah, well, I went to IUP. I went to school for art, for fine art, with a focus in painting. I still do a lot of that. Right when we're done with this, I'm going to be working on a 10 by 10 foot mural in Dinoy's Eatery.
Yeah, I saw
26 in Penn.
You're an artist as well, and that's very cool.
Yeah, I'm a painter, and
beautiful, by the way. I was watching some of the videos here on Facebook.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been getting a lot more consistent work with that as well. I've always said that for me, painting is more of a personal thing, where music is more of a social thing. Or I like to play music with people, in front of people, and painting is something I do more on my own.
Okay.
That being said, I moved to Pittsburgh right after I graduated IUP. I was in a group at the time called Spontaneo, and we played a lot with the guys in Punchline and the Composure. There was a pop punk, kind of pop rock scene that we were in. And that was kind of my first introduction to a lot of the clubs in Pittsburgh, like the Old Lava Lounge and the Smiling Moose and Club Cafe, Mr. Smalls. And I'm just happy to say that I've been able to continue to play in those venues with bands like Gypsy and His Band of Ghosts and this kind of cover band collective that I put together a few years ago called the Ruckus Brothers. And the Ruckus Brothers really afforded me this unique opportunity to work with different people, different musicians for each show. They're kind of one-offs, so it really opened the door to working with musicians that I've never worked with before. I've tried to take that mentality into this group for my whenever I need a band for the solo project. The members have been changing a lot. I'll often call people back. Most of the time when you don't see somebody for the second time in the group, it's because they just had another gig with another band. I've been playing a lot with people who play with multiple groups, so not everybody's available.
Have you ever
all
done
the time.
that?
Like I said, that Ruckus Brothers project was really the first time that happened, and I played with some corporate bands where that happens all the time. You really meet new people almost on every gig.
Well, I imagine that would be a nightmare as far as scheduling your life, being in multiple bands.
Well, I think when you're good, you just get calls, and it's easy to fill your schedule. I think for the person calling you, and this is all you as a hypothetical rhetorical.
Sure.
But I think for the person calling, they just have to understand that you might have to have a list of a couple people to call because if you're trying to tap into that market of professional musicians who are busy with multiple gigs, you're just gonna have to assume that they might not be available. So it's not the 4 guys from Liverpool approach. You know, it's the professional musician crowd. They're out there gigging several nights a week. I play a lot of music, but I don't. I'm not on that session or professional gigger level. That's for sure. I think you have to have some jazz chops to do that. But I'm always excited to put a project together and have people coming in and out of it. And I like that approach as well. I think it keeps things fresh. I think new people bring new attitudes.
Sure, and I think it brings new ideas, and then it allows for creativity.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I love. I love to be. That's one thing that always excites me about like going to places like open mic nights, like such as Acoustic Cafe or any of the other ones here in town.
Yeah.
Is to be able to see a band come together who may have never played together before, or
that's when the good stuff happens.
Yeah, or not often, and they're able to just make something work. And I think that's fascinating to see.
Sure.
That type of improvisation on stage.
Oh yeah, I think what you're talking about is the really the no rehearsal thing.
Yeah,
and there's something really fluid and spontaneous that happens there, and that can be where a lot of good stuff happens. You can get a lot of ideas from that those are always good shows.
To me, it's just amazing how they blend together, because without that, that constant practice, it's just. I imagine you would think that would be difficult, but they go up on stage and it seems so seamless.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a little rehearsal's good. I've been getting away from the it's tough to have rehearsals all the time with my group because, like I said, a lot of people come in and out.
Sure.
Always have to have a couple before the show. That's for sure. But I think keeping it a little loose can leave the window open for some more improvisation, and sometimes that can really be a good thing.
Well, it's a good thing to have in your pocket, and I know with my show, I work overnight 5 days a week. It used to be 6 days a week, and I do all the on-demand for all these other shows, and I do all the social media. I do most of the legwork here at the River's Edge, so it's taxing, and sometimes I come in here and it's great. Like the other day, I was here. I didn't have anything else to do, and I had like 3 hours to prepare for a 1-hour show, and it was everything was perfectly planned. And then other days I come in and I'm like so tired, I fall asleep. I wake up like 30 minutes before the show. I'm like, oh no, I gotta be live in a half hour, and I just kind of have to wing it. And it's good to be able to have that skill to just kind of bring something together, maybe when you're not as prepared as you would hope to be.
Sure, I think there's something to be said about icing the kicker. I think I think some bands and groups really benefit from a lot of rehearsal, and I think some kind of cripple themselves. I think if
you're over rehearsed, people can sense that as well.
Well, it can. Like I said, I think some bands really benefit from it. I think some bands really enjoy rehearsals. But I think some bands get taxed by it, and I think. That can create for a bit of a stiff performance. I think a relaxed band is usually where it's at.
Nothing stiff. September 23rd at 8 p.m. Lots of fun and
some stiff drinks, maybe.
Some stiff drinks, yes. Good wine at the Pittsburgh Winery. That's 8 to 11 p.m. September 23rd. Diego, I look forward to seeing you there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I encourage everyone else to stop out there as well. It's a nice a nice weekend to lead into Pod Crawl. You can back-to-back fun both Fridays, Friday the 23rd at the winery, and you could stop by the 30th here in Millville. Thanks so much, and if you're able to stay after the show, we'll get a little promo for you going. And
cool. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I am Brian Crawford. That was Diego. We have Sammy Toronto of Pittsburgh and High Heels up next here on the River's Edge. All right, welcome back to the River's Edge Radio Network. Brian Crawford here. And over the phone, we have Sammy Toronto of Football on High Heels. I was actually just recently on her show, it was a great time. I enjoyed myself. So, and Sammy, you're a regular on the program. Thank you so much for coming, stopping in. And you live out at State College in that area, so you have a first-hand perspective of what's going on there. And did you read the article that I sent you, the editorial, which everyone should read, at the Collegian? Did you have a chance to take a look at that? Hello? Can you hear me, Sammy? I don't think she can hear me for some reason. We're trying to get a hold of Sammy Toronto. Let's see. Hello, Sammy. Can you hear me? I cannot hear her. I'm going to try giving her a call back. Let's see. That's what happens. No producer, so, got to try and do everything on your own, and that is a challenge. But we'll make it work. Let's see. Let's see if we can hear her. Let's see. It should be ringing. Oh, there we go. You can hear the ringing.
Hey.
There you are. Hello. How are you?
Hello?
Good. We got Sammy. Can you hear me, Sammy?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Connected, Dave?
Can you hear me? We are having a hard time getting a hold of Sammy. I'm not sure what's going on. Might be something on her end. Definitely, though, it's www.collegian.psu.edu. Really, really great read right there. Let's see. We're going to try and get a hold of... Up here, she's calling me right now. Let's see. Hello? Sammy, can you hear me? Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? Sammy. We cannot get a hold of Sammy. We'll have to try and get Sammy back some other time. But that's it. We're actually past our time, so I'm not sure what's going on with her. But we'll talk to her soon. Sammy's always a great listen, really great person. And I do have a holiday of the day for you. Let's see if I can bring up the holiday of the day. That is... Okay, I don't have the music set up because we're going straight into this. Again, no producer. Today is Teddy Bear Day. Happy Teddy Bear Day. It says the teddy bear is one of the most popular toys of children and holds a special place in many adults' hearts. And this lovable stuffed animal has a day. Try it one more time. Sammy, let's see if she can hear me. Hello, can you hear me? She can't hear me. I'm not sure what's going on with her phone, but unfortunately we're just going to have to get back with her at a later time. We'll probably, what I'll do is I'll call her after the show, and we'll get a podcast set up, and we'll launch that for you a little bit later. But that's it for the main show. That's it for the live show. Don't forget, what in the hell is going on? The SoundCloud is playing. We got Diego's music. Again, no producer. It's crazy, but we'll catch you Monday. The show was going well. The show was going so well, and then here at the end, phone doesn't work, technology issues, no producer. Just listen to Fishing Without Bait Sunday, and then listen to me back on Monday. I'm Brian Crawford. You're listening to The River's Edge, Pittsburgh's voice for local music.